It's one of the decks that you have a little bit of a pet following of, which is Flareon, right? Which is what Marcus is playing?
Marcus is absolutely playing that Flareon toolbox, I suppose, Evee with Sylveon and whatnot. Prize cards coming down. There are a couple of those evolution pieces in those prizes. Also, Nasty EX in the prizes. Nothing too painful for Julius there, who's, as you can see, straight away, going to be piloting that Gardevoird EX archetype. So here we go. We see the fist bump. We're getting into our round number 5 here. Both our players are undefeated. And looks like Marcus is kicking things off and even has that Fan Rotom to start. So he's going to have an excellent turn. This is mostly a colourless Pokemon deck. Not only your Noctowl colourless Pokemon, but also some of your lower hit point Eevees are also integral to get into your stage 1 Pokemon here. So this is a great turn 1 for Marcus.
Fantastic way of setting up already for getting those crucial Hootoots out, which we usually see in like the Ogerpon box. But for Marcus's Flareon, of course, is able to find those Eevees, like you said, and of course with Flareon being your main attacker, this is such an advantage of having that Fan Call ability in play, right?
And this is quite a similar deck list by the looks of things on my first glance to something that Ian Robb played here, where it's going to have the Sylveon EX in the deck, and I have to feel like that's going to be a big strategy that Marcus has to look towards, because you typically don't have great reach into Gardevoird. You don't have great type coverage in this instance, so there is only, I think, a clearing in the deck list to help you reach on a Gardevoird EX. So Marcus is going to have to get creative against the Gardevoird matchup, but at the very least, he's got to go first. That's always fantastic for these Noctowl engines, knowing that you only give your opponent one turn before you begin to dual seek and cherry pick some pieces along the way. And Marcus is eyeing up a couple of Hootoots and a Noctowl to his hand, already with the Evee in play, so he can already be content with his turn.
Now, you weren't confident of the Gardevoird matchup originally,
no.
Right? You thought that you have to really take advantage of that Sylveon's Angelite attack as much as possible. You have to use it in the most effective way. Is that usually how this game goes in your eyes?
I feel like weaving an Angelite is going to punish certain board states from Julius. If he gets too wide with his Monkey Dory, another tech basic Pokemon doesn't have enough rolls in play, that can be a big punish. But also, just laughing in the face of Budgie by having multiple burning charges is also a good option. So I'm not going to be surprised if the Flareon starts to get ahead in the prize race pretty routinely here, because we're seeing a proactive search for a terrestrial Pokemon here from Marcus with his Evee EX in the prizes, and also the Nasty EX in the prizes. It might be difficult for him to launch a meaningful attack on the next turn, but I do like preloading this Terrapagos, because you always have to anticipate an Iono from Julius on that turn 1.
Yeah, finding that Sylveon EX with that Ultra Ball is eyeing up a potential. Going for a potential early of evolution into the Evee. Of course, Julius does have a way of sniping Pokemon with that Screen Tail, but it's going to be a tall order to get up and running early as possible. But here we see a fast start here from Julius, knowing exactly what he needs to search out for. And of course, this is a veteran player really in my eyes. I mean, Julius plays so much Pokemon that I know of. He knows his game plans in and out. And here we see a turn 1 secret box, and it's his first action of the game. Here we can see potential big setup from Julius, looking for that Professor's Research as well, looking to go ripping and roaring through that deck.
What more can you ask for? He has Dance Energy for Monkey Dory, could pay retreat into Budgie as well if he would prefer, and does indeed go for Professor's Research. I would have debated an Iono, just because you know that your opponent has stashed a Noctowl into the hand, and stashed a terrestrial Pokemon into the hand as well, but Julius is trying to have the deepest dig possible into this deck. Nest pulling out secondary rolls is always a good deal here, and there's still the artisan for when you play this Professor's Research to get whatever Pokemon you want on the other side of the 7 cards, because you're quite happy to get Budgie. You wouldn't even mind getting the additional rolls down if possible.
Yeah, I can agree more on the Professor's Research or Iono play, just because I would love to take my researches for the Psychic Energy. You know, if I started maybe another vessel or 2 Psychic Energy, I could, maybe see the added advantage of going for the Professor's Research over the Iono. But going for the Iono, going for the Professor's Research, sorry, you're making Marcus is keeping his hand that he's already established with that Fan Call. So, but Julius seeing the potential opportunity in drawing just one more card in order to get set up effectively as possible.
See, yeah, this is the debate for Julius now. I would have enjoyed holding the artisan after the Professor's Research, just so you could take your pick once you've seen 7 cards. This does spin a card deeper, and if you're assuming you only need 2 rolls at the current point of the game, it's fine not to get a 3rd one into play. But it does mean that you're going to spend another Dance Energy here just to retreat. So the Brave Charm coming onto the Budgie now. Monkey Dory is still going to come into play. There's a fresh 7 cards, so Julius has navigated that turn 1 hand pretty well. One thing still missing is a discard of Psychic Energy on his quest, because...
Ooh, Ultra 2 Psychic Energy in hand as well. And the Earth Vessel. Wow, this is a great hand for Julius. Stacking those Psychic Energies in the discard pile, as we all know and love. The Psychic Embrace ability on the Gardevoird EX. So he's effectively Psychic Energy is in the discard pile. So the tactic for Julius is going to be, or well, any Gardevoird player, so to speak, is just going to be getting those Psychic Energy in the discard pile as soon as possible in the most efficient fashion.
Psychic Embrace feels like such a hack for the deck, allowing you to power up all sorts of attackers all in one go, and at the same time the damage counter that's normally a downside becomes upside thanks to the Adrenaline Brain from Monkey Dory as well. Julius is going to hold on to his Ultra Ball by the looks of things, save that for a future turn and just retreat into an itchy pollen. We know that Marcus cleverly used the Ultra Ball on his first turn, so we'll still be able to get into a terrestrial Pokemon at least.
Interesting enough, going for 2 Psychic Energy instead of going for a Darkness Energy for next turn does only have 1 Ultra Ball in hand, so getting rid of that additional Psychic Energy, well, does have another Ultra Ball in hand, but you're guaranteeing a Monkey Dory attachment for next turn, so interesting choice from Julius there. And here we see the artisan from Marcus. You'd imagine a potential Hoothoot or another Evee perhaps.
Yeah, may as well get 3. Yeah. Why not? Also just going to eye up before using a Dual Seeker is also reasonable. It's an awkward situation. You've gone early with Sylveon rather than finding Flareon EX immediately, because typically that's a great answer into Budgie. Not only do you take that knockout, you get more energy into the mix, and you get more Pokemon powered up in one turn.
I love seeing players' characteristics and how they play, because Marcus seems very slow, very patient with his deck. He gets ripped into his deck every once. I love seeing people's attitude towards the game and game states. But here we see Marcus potentially benching another Evee.
Yeah, it means you have to evolve into the Sylveon, I would imagine. You can still evolve into a Flareon with boosted evolution that other Evee bench this turn, if you ever get into the active position. And we are going to see a Dual Seeker now online thanks to the evolution into Sylveon EX.
Yes. You see the Dual Seeker.
There's still the option to use Sparkling Crystal and Crispin to get multiple energy into play here. The Bravery Charm is keeping you out of range for Fan Rotom, crucially.
Yes. He's going to have to try and find a way of retreating that Fan Rotom, unless he wants to. Well, he can't even take an early knockout on the due to that Bravery Charm as well. So you see the Crispin coming down. If he was able to find any sort of retreat for this Fan Rotom, he could have seen an early Angelite, as much as he would probably not want to, maybe waiting for Julius to evolve into some Gardevoirds. At least to just buy you a couple of turns, maybe. You see the Crispin for a Lightning Energy.
I don't mind going slowly with Sylveon, because Gardevoirds become a strange deck list in that it plays no copies of Boss's Orders. If you don't take prize cards, the Counter Catch isn't live, and Screen Tail can't damage these terrestrial EX Pokemon. So you can slow build this Sylveon and really put pressure on Julius without going too far ahead in the prize race. So Marcus might have identified this is a crucial element of this matchup.
Yeah, we've seen the advantage already in the first couple of games that we've had on stream of how important the terrestrial Pokemon ability, well, it is a kind of effect card, right? Having that inbuilt bench barrier. Not taking any prizes for Marcus. The Counter Catcher is not live anymore, wouldn't be live for Julius, so it does have the safety of just, I'm just going to keep manually attaching to the Sylveon and wait for the right time to start attacking.
Yeah, there's no threat, to be honest. I feel like this can't be punished by Julius too much. Even if Gardevoird does hit the board, you're not too concerned.
Yeah, and here we see the Ultra Ball with those 2 Psychic Energy. Now, you'd imagine he's going to go for a potential Curlier, perhaps, or going for a Solar Star himself, establishing another Monkey Dory, perhaps.
It's a strange spot. If you start looking into Curlier, you could just get Angeliced away anyway.
Yeah,
You've seen your opponent start to power that up.
The threat's there, isn't it? I guess already for Julius of that Sylveon. So
it's already a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a chess game, isn't it? It's a little bit of a mind game. When do I want to evolve into these Gardevoird EX? Do I evolve into them at the right time, when I can take most advantage, when I can take a big knockout on a Sylveon, perhaps?
Here's an alternative to get a third Rocks down.
Yes,
so you can only remove 2 from play at once. It does spend an Ultra Ball, but fortunately you've got rid of a couple of Psychic Energy, has a benefit to you, and you can just sit behind Itchy Pollen and turn longer. I don't think Julius has much gun on his hand, to be honest.
No.
Might have to save this second Ultra Ball stashed in hand for maybe even Defensivity if Marcus does begin to turn into the aggressor.
He's going to have to take full advantage of this Itchy Pollen as much as possible. Does a nice stretch it for that Curlier. Into the Curlier there. And of course, going for that Itchy Pollen onto that Fan Rotom. 20 damage now on that Fan Rotom.
Every damage counter does matter.
It does
You can manipulate so much with Monkey Dory.
You know, the Adrenal Brain, as we've already said, 30 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but with all these Pokemon doing little damage time and time again, it does come up relevant sooner or later. And here's from Marcus.
Could Angelite this turn if he wishes, but Julius has attempted to play around it already.
Yes.
There's no Dual Seeker from those 6 cards either, so we can't Dual Seek towards a Crystal. We have no energy to retreat here. Might have to be another turn off from Marcus.
Another Curlier in hand for Julius and the Gardevoird EX, who can choose to evolve it if he does wish to. One thing I would mention, which could be very important for this game, is there's no rare candy for Julius. So even if he does have the... Oh, well, no, sorry, there is one in the prizes, so no available for him at the moment. So even if he does have 3 benched rolls, if that Angelite is used for its most effective method of getting rid of a Curlier, or perhaps a Curlier and Gardevoird, or the 2 Gardevoird, it could come up relevant here.
Scream Tail coming into mix now that Gardevoird EX here. If you preload damage, you are able to at least be 2 damage light because you continue to rely on that you've put damage on. It feels like the 4 damage counter allows you to stop using this Roaring Scream for 80, which should be enough to deal with some of these Hootoots.
I think just correcting myself there, that it was rare candy in the...
Yeah, there's a couple more.
I thought it was the Bravery Chart, but there's actually 3 rare candy in the deck.
I was worried there.
Yeah. So here we see the Scream Tail now.
You can damage this.
Yes.
And you are able to. It just can't be sent to sleep.
Yes. Here we see the Scream Tail, Roaring Scream. You know, this has been a card that's just been so ever present in Gardevoird. You know, being able to snipe such large Pokemon and small.
Knocked out top deck then.
Yes.
And Defensivity in hand. Marcus has the option for a few interesting plays here. You can also now have Counter Catcher available. You could even put 2 energy from this Screen Tail back into the deck.
Yes.
We know that Gardevoird loves to cycle energy through the discard pile. So if we can Counter Catcher up another Pokemon, even one of these rolls, we could try and Angelite back in the Gardevoird EX and Screen Tail in one turn. Now, Marcus has already identified Sylveon EX, so he knows that that's certainly a path for him. Make it tough for Julius. As he takes these prize cards, give him more and more to work with, so that Julius's own Iono start working against him.
Yes, and there's only so many opportunities now for Gardevoird to get that Psychic Energy in the discard pile. So
yeah.
If you're able to disrupt in that way, you know, that's going to only be to your advantage in disrupting your opponents. Now that there's refinement gone from Gardevoird, you're relying on those Ultra Balls, those Earthen Vessels, those Professor's Research, and of course over time, those resources come pretty thin, don't they? And here we see the Nest Ball from Marcus. Is able to get the Nest Ball from the Area 0 and depths, of course.
Just going to fail the Nest Ball, perhaps, but just buying a Dual Seeker.
Going for the deck search for the Nest Ball, of course, and just
I think it would have been nice if anything, that's on the top of the prize cards. Also an extra Hoot as well. Lots of Pokemon in those prizes.
This Rotom's been in the active for quite a while now, but he's able to take a knockout, right, on the...
I feel like Angelite's just a stronger line.
Yeah.
Taking the 1 feels awkward. That's playing into the hands of Gardevoird, and we see the Counter Catcher puts it on top of the hand. I really like this idea. If you put Screen Tail back, remove those Psychic Energy, only give Julius 1 Psychic to play with. That's so annoying.
Yes. Now, one thing for Julius, didn't go for evolving one of the rolls into a Curlier last turn.
True.
So...
It would have just gone back into the deck.
I would have, But at least it would have put a little bit of thinking on Marcus, right? If he does go for the Roaring Moon, the Screen Tail now, at least, you know, you would have the security of having a Curlier on board.
What interesting attack. And there's none like it currently in standard format. The Angelite attack is similar to an old GX attack. Interesting enough, with the Sylveon GX. Chooses 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You shuffle those Pokemon and all the cards attached into their deck. And then you can't use Angelite next turn. So you have to time this correctly, but it can really change up board positions. And from that spot, that's when you try and get your advantages later. The second Dual Seeker comes in for a Tera Orb here. A great little cheeky card you can grab to find extra Terrestrial Mons. There's another Sylveon.
Ooh, another Sylveon.
And that tells me that we're trying this a lot throughout the game.
I'm going to be Angelating. And of course, going for the Screen Tail, like you said, putting that Psychic Energy back into the deck. You know, with only an Iono in hand, with the Psychic Energy, you're going to be relying on really awkward methods of discarding Psychic Energy, like maybe a manual retreat or what have you. So yeah, it could be interesting in the later turns as to how Julius gets around this Angelite if Marcus goes through that method.
I'm intrigued to see Marcus' choice. I love it as well. With the Counter Catcher allows you to get rid of those 2 Psychic Energy in addition to Julius' only Stage 2 Pokemon in play. And that's going to be such a headache, like you said, Ben. You can evolve into a Curlier easily. Chuck in a Iono. Hope for the best. Yeah. Outside of that, we may be not attacking at all, or simply going back into Itchy Pollen, and that puts Marcus back in the driver's seat.
And this is the disadvantage of these Stage 2 Pokemon, is that it does take a while to get set up, right? Unless you have cards like Rare Candy, it will take you a while to get up and running into these larger Stage 2 Pokemon. So, you know, if Marcus is able to perhaps gust this Curlier and disrupt, you know, it could, you know, come up trumps for Julius here. And here we see the Iono and manual attachment into rolls. I would love to see just a retreat into the Badoo, into just an Itchy Pollen. I think that's just the way forward, right?
Ooh, picked up Candy Gardevoird though.
Ooh, nice.
So there are more options. But like I said, I feel like the Itchy Pollen is still reasonable here.
No way of an alternative attacker though, really, is there? Apart from the Monkey Dory, he doesn't have any way of finding another Screen Tail or a Drifloon, perhaps.
You could use a Mind Bend.
You could use Mind Bend, yeah. Could use Monkey Dory.
It's the Sylveon EX does have a high retreat cost.
Does stop an attack from the Sylveon, or well, at least you reduce the odds of an attack from the Sylveon. Isn't able to use Angelite next turn. I think that's a crucial element of Angelite. You're not able to stream this attack turn after turn. So here we see the
unfavourable Iono. Wow, finding Rare Candy Gardevoird, and we are going to see more energy loaded up onto the new Monkey Dory. That means you're protecting the darkness energy on the bench, so you can continue with your Adrenal Brain. Here comes a 3 damage heal from the active. And we're prepping the Fan Rotom. Once again, those couple pokes from Badoo now puts that Fan Rotom tantalisingly close. And we can see the spin around of the Sylveon EX because that is now confused. And that truly is a headache for Marcus now. He's in a tough spot.
Just have Curlier in hand, so he is able to get out of the active and for a manual attachment and retreat back into that Sylveon, is able to take a knockout. But what I would have loved to see here is for Marcus to take a gust knockout on one of the Curlier, really start putting the pressure on Julius, because of course that Angelite is going to be coming in thick and fast, of course. 2 on the field now, and with Crossball as well, is able to put running for perhaps next turn for that consecutive disruption.
Nest Ball is open for you to grab new EX as well, so you have to pay retreat and start loading up another Sylveon perhaps.
Yes.
That could also be going through Martha's mind. It does put down another vulnerable multi-prize Pokemon.
I mean, Marcus is useful, but it's 2-2 on board now as well, so Dual Seeker isn't going to be a way forward.
Just a pass.
Just a pass. Interesting. Okay.
Plays it slower. It does allow Julius to maybe get more creative once again with Gardevoird. There's now 6 counters on the active Sylveon. It has 270 hit points. So we could prep it up even more now with Adrenaline Brain.
Yep.
Physically attack with the Gardevoird even. Could be a line of play.
I do like the pass, only because saving that Kieran would have meant it would have been for the Angelite turn. And of course, if you are going to be attacking, you're going to be knocking out that Monkey Dory, which puts Julius in the advantage because he does have 2 psychic energy to play with for a bigger knockout.
The Sylveon on the bench is so much safer. When you know you're not worried about counter catcher and you can't be screen tailed, I would have loved to retain those energies as much as possible. Now there's an aggressive line available for Julius.
Yeah, still is able to find an attack if he wishes. Does bench the Lily's Clefairy.
Well, that's doing a huge chunk.
I'm going to be needing to do my
There's
maths.
6 bench for Marcus and a full bench from Julius.
Does do
so we're going in.
So we are taking knockouts on this Sylveon EX. This is a huge knockout, and now it's going to be putting pressure onto Marcus to find a potential Crispin to put the energy onto this Sylveon EX to start using that Angelite if that's the route he wants to go down.
Let's finish off the fan rotom. I like taking knockout on a turn. You're taking a knockout with an attack as well, so they get one for the script use and not potentially multiple turns later down the line. And that's
now,
Rondo.
It's whether Marcus can find the Angelite now. With only 2 Gardevoird lines on the field now, you feel like that's definitely the turn that you want to perhaps do it. But with that Lily's Clefairy, he is going to be doing consistent damage now. There is an attacker on board, right?
Yeah, and there's the Sparkling Crystal plus Water Energy in hand. That's the combination for Angelites, but then you're taking even more damage. You're taking on water.
Yeah.
That's the concern here.
You're not getting rid of a threat on board, which is the Lily's Clefairy. So what does Marcus see as the biggest threat here? And of course, if even not taking a knockout, at least he isn't able to find a sort of Drifloon big knockout on any of these Pokemon as well.
That's the thing. I think Julius is in that great position. He's got 2 prize cards remaining, and that is the Clefairy is threatening its own right. So even if there is the Angelite once again here, Julius can at least announce an attack, and then from there he's close to closing out the game.
Yeah, can you deal with this in the next turn? Interesting. Okay.
Protection, once again, it comes back to the deck list of these recent Gardevoird thing. No boss is always in the list. So if a terrestrial Pokemon is damaged, and they're not ahead on prize cards, you can't bring it back into the active or deal with it in any way, apart from Monkey Dory.
And the Sylveon isn't knocking out this Lily's Clefairy either, only doing 160 damage with that first attack. So, you know, the threat's going to be there whether you like it or not. So perhaps an Angelite is the only way for Marcus, I guess. Or a potential Gust like we saw in that other Angelite turn, a Gust, then an Angelite on the Lily's Clefairy, perhaps?
So here's the concern. We're adding more Pokemon into play. That makes the Lily's Clefairy even more threatening with Ultra Ball. The final card in hand for Marcus is a Mew EX. So you can draw some additional cards, but that's more vulnerable Pokemon coming onto the board. And crucially, it puts the Sylveon EX in more danger. It's nearer to Adrenaline Brain to finish off the game. Let's see what these 3 cards can offer. Kieran doesn't change much.
Julius effectively thumbs upping, right? Saying, yeah,
that's fine, keep going.
Yeah.
Do we see Iono? No Iono from the Mew EX or the Defensive Dipsy. That was definitely a card Marcus was trying to find. He loaded his hand size as much as possible, but has not been able to find what he needs.
Does have a Kieran, so can take knockout on this Lily's Clefairy, right?
It doesn't feel like that. Just feels like you're going further and further behind from that stage.
And you just want to hope that Julius doesn't find any sort of Drifloon attack for the big knockout on the Sylveon EX, right?
I think you have to hope the Sylveon can sponge for a turn. Then maybe you go into your Clefairy and deal with, deal with your opponents. Or use Terapagos to take the knockout and then hope that you're close enough. It's another Angelite coming in from Marcus. So far he's launched 2 attacks. They've both been Angelites from Sylveons.
You said it was maybe the way forward for the Sylveon. It
seems like maybe as well, can't you? You can see why it's a maybe, because the damage, the prize cards are tossing down, the damages are racking up.
It might be the way.
Let's see. Julius, what can you sculpt?
Doesn't have any draw spore in hand, but does have the Screen Tail with...
Couple Vessel as well.
With the... I think so, Brave Charm as well.
Could be Brave Charm, could be Ultra Ball as well. I think in that hand, if you get at least a Bolt down, that's starting to pressure again. Yeah.
Does he have game here? I think he does, right? Ultra Ball. Oh, no Brave Charm. Okay, fine.
Well, how far are we with our Rondo right now? 200, 220 right now with the full Moon Rondo?
I was thinking whether he could take knockout with the Screen Tail on that Mew EX.
You can't scream. We've lost our Gardevoird.
Oh, yes. Easy mistake to make. You always think it's live.
You do.
Yeah, the only attack available here is going to be that Lily's Clefairy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think for Marcus, finding any sort of retreat, tanking a hit with the Sylveon here and taking a knockout on the Rolls, or maybe even Lily's Clefairy.
This is the only headache, right? That Julius is going to get so close to KOing the Sylveon, he might just be a few Dread Brains away.
Yes.
Screen Tail's a strange card to hold on to because it can't finish off a terrestrial EX Pokemon.
And of course, with Marcus being on 6 prizes, Julius being on 2, they can't catch it. Isn't going to be live any soon, right?
This is a big issue. We're going to see Screen Tail come down.
Come down, yeah.
Let's put 2 onto the Sylveon. There's an obvious objective here. Get as close as possible to the Sylveon EX with the full Moon Rondo.
And it's going to be...
we're at 260, I believe.
260, yeah. 20 damage off for the full Moon Rondo.
Tantalizing one counter of Monkey Dory. Julius is setting himself up in a great position.
You need to take knockout this turn on anything. You cannot hit into this Lily's Clefairy without attacking.
Looks like it's a concession of game number 1 here. Julius put himself 10 damage away, and Marcus had no response there. Julius playing so well around that awkward Angelite, but kept enough pressure, enough attackers on this board to continue churning through those prize cards. He made it look easy then.
It's a bold strategy, but let's see if it pays off for him. And QBC now shuffling up for game 2. And yeah, I mean, like you said, unfortunately the Angelite just wasn't enough. You couldn't find it on those most efficient turns, and Julius benching that 3rd Rolls came up to his advantage in the end, because he was able to find an additional option. And having the threat of that Screen Tail earlier on turn 2 meant that Marcus had a decision to make, right? Do I Angelite that Screen Tail? Do I go for the Destruction approach? And that's exactly what he did, but it just wasn't enough.
I really like this game one. The use of that Monkey Dory mind bending really put Marcus in a strange position. He chose not to protect the Sylveon, which meant the Clefairy could finish off the first one and then put a huge chunk into the second Sylveon as well. It's very rare to see Gardevoird as the aggressor. Yes. And in this case, Julius found a great window to put enough damage prepped along the board to close out the game number 1 there. I wonder if Marcus is going to take a different approach. I feel like there were some awkward prize cards like Latias EX and then meant the fan rotom was trapped for a decent amount of time. There was one of those Flareon EX in the prize as well. I personally like a bit of a mix and match. I like Sylveon coming, I like the Flareon coming in first. That naturally thins your deck and you get to pressurize prize cards. And then it puts Julius in a strange situation where you need to reload attackers, Monkey Dories, and be aware of the Angelite threat. I think if you're just going to sit back an Angelite, it's too easy for Julius to just be aware of what's happening.
It gives you the security of another approach, doesn't it? I mean, you know, doing damage and taking prize cards, like you said, it does pressure on your opponents. So yeah, it'll be it's whether Marcus see that line of play in this game too. You know that pressure's on. We're playing Gardevoird. It is a slower archetype, so time may be a factor into this one as well. So for Marcus, it's whether he does go for that Flareon, a more aggressive approach, and start getting those Sylveon up and running as early as possible. And here we see the start here from Marcus. You imagine it's going to be for that fan rotom, for that fan call. Start getting set up for game here. Getting those Eevees down, getting those Hoots down. It's so important.
It's a vital piece of this deck. It feels so awkward at times when you have low counts of all of your stage 1 Pokemon, tech Pokemon in the mix as well, but just one ball search card really gets you rolling.
Yes.
And you've got to feel, it's not going to be the fan rotom here. That has to be a surprise for me. I think there's already a Sylveon in the hand. Here we go. We're going to go for the fan call instead. And that means you get more value. You can grab not only some Hoo, but also a knockdown into the hand.
Yeah, it just gives you that security, doesn't it? It's not like one of these abilities where it's only searching basics. It's searching that crucial Dual Seeker ability on Noctowl as well. So you can imagine it's going to be 2 Hoots and a Noctowl. That's usual line of play, right? you have a knockdown on hand or one of those pieces. And here we see that's the play from Marcus. Only one EV on board now. I guess you do have the safety of Julius not taking those earlier knockouts. It's not too aggressive, right? So you can afford to just have one on board. And here we see Marcus shuffling up. And Julius is going to be looking to pretty much do the same as last turn, right? I would expect. The same as last game, right? Which is pretty much the same game plan.
I think that's most of the matchups, right? Yeah, this does put you in range of attacking with Sylveon even from turn 2. There's one already in hand and dual secret available, so Marcus didn't look too impressive, but it is threatening a lot.
Yes.
Let's see what the opening hand looks like for Julius, where already has access to an Earthen Vessel, but first it's going to be a Nest Ball to search the deck for some basics. He's going to be fairly happy with his prize cards. He did prize his Secret Box, A-Spec, and a couple of his Artisan, but he should still have a decent dig into the deck turn 1, because he is holding on to that Iono. So he can be at least content with that. He can start pitching a couple Psychic Energy as he goes, using Earthen Vessel, retreating this Monkey Dory, all makes sense to me.
I think what I love about the format at the moment is that Julius had rather gone for a Badu than a Ralts.
Yeah.
Despite not having any other way of searching his deck for the Ralts. Sees the advantage of taking that Badu, and here we see the first Earthen Vessel going for that Psychic Energy and that Darkness Energy. I guess going for the Darkness Energy, you need to manually retreat here, right? So you wouldn't want to necessarily manually retreat.
I think it's attacking Psychic, but it shows just how important it is to see more Psychic to discard multiples and whatnot. Yeah, there we go. Psychic Energy, 2 Monkey Dory, into the bench Screen Tail, into the Iono, both players getting a fresh 6 cards.
Thinning the deck of Psychic Energy is not what you want when you're putting on the bottom of your deck, right? So yeah, going for that Darkness Energy increases your odds of finding the Psychic Energy, and in connection with those discard effects as well is exactly what you want to see. 2 Ultra Ball in hand, Festivity, Gardevoird, I think, and the Psychic Energy.
It's not the best, but you can get 1 Ralts established and at least go into Badu here.
Wow,
discard Psychic Energy and maybe the Lilies Fairy. I would imagine you have so many Night Stretcher that you can recover these basics quite happily. Yeah.
Going for the Lilies Fairy, seeing the special advantage in keeping the Fez and the Gardevoird EX, of course. Now he's going for the Ralts, like you said. You'd imagine.
It's only turn 1, but there's not much follow-up.
No.
The only follow-up would be Sensitivity EX.
Yes, and for this matchup in particular, you want to try and find as many Ralts as possible, right, to get them up and going. If Marcus is able to find some sort of early pressure, perhaps even a boss and an energy attachment, I know it's a lot, but if you are able to find it, you know, Marcus can go up and running on this matchup.
That's like Rhino supporter in hand for Marcus, so he can attack with a Flareon, as there's also a Fire Energy in this hand. Yeah. You can also find your Evee, EX, and power that up with a Burning Charge. You would initiate the prize race and you could start getting to work on attacking with a Sylveon EX later. That's one of the great things of this Rhino. It's a 1 of in the deck. There are many one of these archetypes because of Dual Seeker, of course. But it means you can get not only your stage 1s, but thanks to Evee EX in the mix, you can also get a Pokemon to power up here.
We've seen Enzorwag take advantage of the Serrano, but of course...
Still ignoring the Flareon, sorry Ben, that's a surprise to me. It felt like such a simplistic turn.
Yeah.
Start that prize race. You know your opponent's playing Secret Box, not unfair stamp, so you can walk into that quite happily.
He's going for the heavier.
Still powering up Sylveon. With only 1 Ralts in play, it felt like he'd still Angelite later and it would be powerful.
Maybe you take just an early knockout with the Flareon, perhaps? With the Sylveon, perhaps, I guess?
It's got a Threnity attack cost though. You can't use the Magical Charm from this board, I don't think. Evee EX comes down, but yeah, I'm not seeing a means of using Flareon. It looks like we're just slow attaching to the Sylveon, but the Fire Energy does not help. The Fire Energy does not help at all here. As we evolve up, we even have the option of using Colourful Friends. Yeah. But we've evolved out of that now. It's a surprise that we're not seeing pressure here from me.
Yeah, I agree. It's an awkward space to be in for Marcus.
His hand is terrible, by the way.
Giving additional turns to Julius. Of course, he does have a bit of a dead hand here, but you know, giving extra turns to Julius to get set up, especially as a powerful stage 2 Pokemon, it's not really what you want to see. You see the manual attachment from Marcus.
The dual speed is playing here, Ben, because they're slowly building up Sylveon, and you've seen that Julius now is supportless in the hand. Oh, there's the research.
Nice, very good.
This changes everything. Now Julius is off to the races. He can discard a Psychic Energy and Sensitivity EX. I believe there's a Red Candy in hand as well.
Finding wrong. This is a crucial Ralts as well. If Marcus was able to find Gust Knockout on that single Ralts next turn and keep that Angelite as an option for the next turn, that would have been amazing, but unfortunately for Marcus, just a manual attachment in the past was what he went for. Just throwing the cards down. The disrespect. Throwing the cards down, drawing a fresh 7 cards as well. If I know Julius, and I do, he's laughing his head. He's laughing.
Is it just an itchy pollen here? No, still more options to assess.
Doesn't find Rare Candy. I was mistake the Bravery Charm for Rare Candy, but more options for Julius to pop.
No Rare Candy pop-offs though, so we can't get too crazy.
Does have Earthen Vessel and Ultra Ball in hand. They do really complement each other, don't they? Finding the 2 Psychic Energy, then just following the Psychic Energy with Ultra Ball. But does he see the line in getting rid of another Monkey Dory? Or does he want to save that one?
Just the pollen, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
You whiffed your Rare Candy combination, so let's just sit behind this a little longer. Psychic Energy is not the right one to finish off powering up the Sylveon EX unless we're trying to use its first attack.
He could, I think for Marcus, he could have used Swapping Crystal last turn, right, to start doing
something. Access to Dual Seeker.
There's also one hand, I think.
Yeah, but he was itchy pollen.
Ah, of course it was. Yeah. The classic. Easy to forget.
Here comes the Iono for 6. Can we now Dual Seeker find the crystal naturally? Well, there's your answer. Knockdown is in the hand.
So Noctowl is there now for Marcus. What's he going to be finding here?
I think we're waiting to buy 2 rolls.
Yes.
Well, I had to guess.
You'd think so.
We're taking this slow build approach.
Just hope that Julius doesn't have a way of finding 2 Ralts next turn and start boxes ordering.
That's the thing. If you catch them one at a time, and the way Gardevoird's built now, there are no buddy popping in this whatsoever.
No.
So it's hard to find multiple Ralts consecutively, especially when they're going into the deck and not the discard pile. When they're knocked out, you have this Night Stretcher to find multiple.
Yes.
When they're thrown back into the deck, you're like, oh, shucks, I can't get them again.
You're really relying on those draw supporters, right? You're really relying on research and Iono to find what you need. That's why there's so many in the deck, 4 of the maximum count of draw supporters in this Gardevoird list. And just finding those Nest Balls and Ultra Balls is so crucial. But again, like you said, Night Stretcher is also a card that it sees a big advantage in playing 4 of in most of these lists. But
there's the expect. Sparkling Crystal allows the Sylveon now to use the Angelite. Both Ralts shuffled in for Julius. Marcus watching again saying, I don't need prize cards, I'm attacking the board in a different way.
How do you like this?
Yeah, I know. It's a new type of headache for Julius to overcome. He was able to do so in the first game. Let's see how his hand can adapt.
Another Iono.
Does have Nest Ball and Iono, so he can at least reload 1 Ralts.
2 Nest Ball in hand as well. I don't know if research is...
Wow.
Yeah, 2 Red Candy, sorry. So he's gonna... You feel like he has to Iono here rather than research. I don't know if there was research in hand, but Iono is definitely going to be the choice of option for draw supporter here. Yeah, there was research. It's forced to Iono here at this point with 2 Red Candy in hand. Doesn't want to get rid of those resources lightly. And with 3 Psychic Energy in the discard as well, there is sort of that ever-growing pressure of having enough Psychic Energy in the discard pile. Fresh 6 now for Julius. Does he find another way of finding a Ralts? Does he find one? Oh, that's an and 2 Psychic Energy.
That's a great rip from Julius. Putting himself back in a decent position. Can continue to filter those energy. Maybe spend a turn attachment, attach it to Monkey Dory as well for more preparation. So we can get Drain on the line earlier.
the vessel for psychic and darkness energy as well is able to now attach to that monkey dory and still get rid of those 2 psychic energy with Ultra Ball. This is a huge hand for Julius.
He's not holding on to much beyond this.
No.
But getting 2 rolls down and prepping Candy Gardevoird for the following turn is pretty much all you can do. I believe there's a Gardevoird in this
There is a Gardevoird in this card pile, so this is like a perfect sequence of hand, a perfect sequence of resources in hand for Julius. But of course, you would imagine Marcus is going to, well, you would hope that he's going to start using boss's orders on those rolls to start putting on some downward pressure on this Gardevoird. Now,
we were in this position in the first game. Marcus was using Angelite. This is a turn where he can't Angelite again.
No.
And he now launches an attack with Sylveon and says, Julius, from this low hand size, can you get into a stage 2 Pokemon?
Now, what I do like about this play, at least from Marcus, is that saving the gust means that he is able to use Angelite next turn, if possible, on 2 rolls or 2 evolutions, Curlier and Gardevoird in combination. So at least he's seeing what's my most efficient turn to use Angelite.
This ultra top deck changes everything. Now Julius, rather than just going for 0-card Gardevoird, can grab Sensitivity, draw the 3, and then you have the best of both worlds, an engine on the board while still guaranteeing Gardevoird EX.
Does find Curlier and another nice stretch as well, so doesn't even have to use the Ultra Ball to find Gardevoird this turn. This is pretty big and does have a Screen Tail, so does have an optional attacker on board as well.
You know,
Two Gardevoird in the discard pile as well.
Oh, they're both in the discard. Funny enough, the might stretch is massive.
I don't know whether it was Lili's Clefairy or Gardevoird. It probably would have been Gardevoird. Lili's Clefairy. Let's have a look.
Could be, yeah, it is Lili's Clefairy. There's also the Darkness Energy. That's the options. So yeah, we can Ultra Ball Gardevoird still.
Then Ultra Ball for the other Gardevoird.
We're doing the same thing again from Julius. What I really like from him, this bench is full and we can use a Dread Brain to finish off the Sylveon thanks to the Full Moon Rondo. So we can get into Gardevoird, that's powered up, but then there's also the Clefairy staring down at Marcus. So if ever he gets creative with shenanigans of Angelite again, you're still going to have so many threats developed that you can always respond.
So you'd imagine an evolution into the active rolls, so you get that Adrenaline Brain up and running with 2 Psychic Embrace.
Cracking his knuckles. Psychic Embrace.
This is my turn. 2 Psychic Embrace onto the Gardevoird, of course it is a 2 energy retreat cost. Putting 40 damage on that Gardevoird does activate Adrenaline Brain. This is why it's so good. It has such great synergy with that Adrenaline Brain, and that crucial 20 damage is going to put that Sylveon in range of a knockout now with that Full Moon Rondo on the Lili's Clefairy EX.
Yeah, 2 full benches. This Lili's Clefairy not just going to be a card used against Dragapult. We've seen Julius use it effectively in both games so far. Julius is deciding what's the better Pokemon to heal the damage off of here. Do you want to protect your Gardevoird EX, or do you want to push Clefairy out of range of Sylveon's attack?
Yeah, Magical Charm doing 160 damage for the Sylveon EX. So, does see the importance of
the right.
Yep.
With 10 bench Pokemon, that's 200 plus the 20 from Clefairy itself. So there we go. With the 3 counters from Monkey Dory, we are knocking out the Sylveon EX quite comfortably. And Julius once again going further ahead in this prize race now, having taken his first 2.
And with only 1 attachment on that Evee EX, it does mean that he's going to be relying on Crispin if he does want to be using any attack with Sylveon, or perhaps going for a Flareon here. Perhaps he does know that Julius does have a low hand size with only Nest Ball and Clefairy in hand. There would be very minimal response from Julius. Doesn't have any sort of bravery charm.
If we can find a Dual Seeker, we could, because we have Sensitivity, so we can draw 3 first. If we find Dual Seeker, we can Crispin and Countercatch and take out the damaged Gardevoird EX perhaps.
Yes.
And force even more rare candy. I feel like Carnelian has to be your best line here.
Could do the 280 with that Flareon.
I don't think we see any access to Dual Seeker.
Let's have the
Sylveon though. We didn't use Angelite last turn.
No, we didn't. I think that's probably the method that he's going to go for.
We're questioning it because it didn't work in game number 1. And we're in a similar position again here.
I mean, he knows that Julius only has 2 cards in hand, right? So at least he has the security of...
Finally retreats
into the Fan Rotom. Has already used the manual attachment now, so you feel like this Fan Rotom is going to be a bit of a sacrificial lamb for this turn. Maybe trying to take advantage of an INO to its maximum effect with Julius going down to 3 prize cards if he does knock out this Fan Rotom, I guess.
My concern is that there are so many Psychic Energy banked in Julius' discard pile that he can get roaring, screaming. With his Screen Tail that's already on the bench, he doesn't need to do anything. Even if he has no cards in hand, he's literally playing with 1 card in hand or 2 cards in hand right now from the prize cards.
Yeah, there's enough Psychic Energy in the discard pile now. If you did Angelite this Lili's Clefairy, it wouldn't be as effective as a disruption option.
Picking up the Noctowl, that can be useful for next turn. And means if you are attacked with a Screen Tail, you'll at least still have access to 1 Dual Seeker. Take a turn off here.
Yeah, it's not a line that you usually want to go down. Oh, top deck of the Professor's Research from Julius. This is huge. Another 7 cards here, and he's able to see, finds another Research as well, finds that Bravery Charm as well, and another Psychic Energy. This is massive. Does have Screen Tail on board as well, so can start sniping around this Fan Rotom if he wishes.
Countercatch not live, because all we've done is Angelite.
Yeah, Countercatch is not live.
I have to make 3 Gardevoirds already, but...
I made that mistake earlier, so I always think it's live. I'm always down on prizes.
I think we have 5 Psychic Energy to play with, so Screen Tail, especially with the Bravery Charm pickup.
Yeah,
I love dishing out 200 and Dread Brain to finish off maybe even Sensitivity EX here.
Yeah, I love doing damage around this Fan Rotom, just giving more of a headache to Marcus. Now,
depends how much energy you want to play around with. You can commit more, you could potentially fall prey to, it's going to be a manual attachment from Julius. I think you might be content just with a single prize KO, not falling into the trap of potential jamming tower tech cards.
Sure.
Dread Brain going to push this Gardevoird back out of range of any easy means of dealing with it for a Flareon.
He could have taken a knockout on the Latias here, right?
He could have. He could have. They were open,
yeah.
But he's choosing just to take the 1 instead and set up the Fan Rotom with multiple Monkey Dory. Okay. So you know you can take, oh, well, maybe not. Not going the full way. So yeah, adding more damage to your Screen Tail means that even if it isn't Angelite, you can even KO a Noctowl later as well, and you're still not playing into the Tool Jammer.
Seeing that Dual Seeker is the main engine for Marcus, reducing the opportunity to use more and more of these Dual Seeker is only going to be to the disadvantage of Marcus. There's so much disruption here for Marcus, just having those 1 Dual Seeker now live. Does go for the Countercatcher on the first Sensitivity. Is this a Gust and Stall play? I feel like it might be, but could potentially go for an Angelite this turn if he's able to find Crispin.
I feel like we're going to try.
I kind of feel like he can't go, but going for a push Iono instead.
Even with Dual Seeker enabled, Marcus opting to go for the Iono instead. That Professor's Research rip was huge for Julius last turn.
Now, what I do like about this board state for Marcus is 5 energy on board, attached to 2 Pokemon for Julius, so even if he was able to Angelite, at least he'd get 5 energy back into the deck, with only 2 in the discard pile, so that would have been great, actually. But not seeing that line of play, not evolving that Hutus to find that Crispin. We see the
flip the script. 3 additional cards. There is the option for Area 0, some Nest Ball coming into hand as well, alongside Super Rod, so we can try and reload some Pokemon. Maybe getting an additional Hootsuite onto this board could be a good shout here.
I feel like Julius loved seeing that Area 0 in the depths, because as we've already established, it is increasing the damage output from that Lili's Clefairy with that Full Moon Rondo. But, you know, these decks, these Terras-like focus decks, I'd like to call them, you know, with the Sylveon, with the Ogerpon, all of these types of decks really rely on this Area 0 and the depths and having a massive board state. You want to put as many Hootsuite down as possible, and it only increases the damage output of the Clefairy X, which is littering the format right now, right?
Yeah, not much coming together still for Marcus. I can't see a strong line at all, really. You only draw opponent down and you're hoping that it's hard to retreat a 1 retreat cost Sensitivity EX. You're taking another turn off. The only energy I can see in hand is a Fire Energy. We've committed so proactively to the Sylveon. Never once we've been the Flareon.
Yep.
We're going to get a hoot back now, at least, so we can nest one out.
Does have 7 energy on board, Julius, so that's just a 7. Well, 7 energy in play. There's 2 in the discard, and then there's, oh no, there's 8, yeah, sorry. There's 6 on board and 2 in the discard pile, so does have a lower odds of finding a manual attachment and retreat, but does have a plethora of Night Stretcher in the deck, so you feel like the odds are pretty slim for Marcus to have this disruption.
You created a headache for yourself by going so wide on the bench as well now. His Clefairy is becoming more and more threatening. There's the pass.
Oh, finds the Curlier as well. Doesn't see an Ino.
Throw the Ino into the mix. Marcus trying to establish a larger hand size, but that's immediately thrown away by Julius, even though he's getting just the 3 cards. Did you see Night Stretcher or basic energy here? Oh, the Vessel.
And the Night Stretcher. Brilliant. Okay, fine.
I believe the Vessel can get the final energy out of the deck here. Instead, it's just going to use Night Stretcher.
Yeah.
Turn attach.
Manual attachment, retreat, and perhaps going for that Screamtail, finding further knockouts on the bench, perhaps going for another
evens. Yeah. You're saving that Clefairy to also be a huge threat on the bench. Now, what do you do with Andalites if you're Marcus? There's a threatening Clefairy, there's Gardevoird, there's a Curlier ready to rumble. There's so many Pokemon.
I feel like you have to go for the Screamtail and there's Clefairy combo, but yeah, unsure where the game goes now.
Again. Julius down to 2 prize cards. 2 minutes remaining on the clock in round number 5. Julius has had exceptional play so far with Gardevoird. Game number 1 went pretty smoothly. It's game number 2 going more of the same. Where can Marcus go from here?
Yeah, this feels just like a repeat of game 1, just with a bit of added Screamtailness to this one. Taking some easy knockouts on the Hoothoot, which is actually a more of an advantage than he was in game 1, disrupting Marcus from finding those dual seeker abilities, those crucial dual seekers to start getting up and running. But Marcus relying a bit too heavily on the Angela. We've already said about how important the Flareon EX could be to start putting some early pressure on these evolving Pokemon. But here we see, I think, only the second dual seeker ability of this game. Going into the deck now, perhaps finding Crispin, because he's going to have to start doing something here, right?
Crispin will allow you to weave in the Sylveon once again, and there is Counter Catcher if you want to move the Screamtail, but like we said, Ben, I see 4 threatening Pokemon at least on this board.
Yeah, certainly do. Here's the Crispin as well, and now that even that Gardevoird's out of range for Flareon EX, Canadian attack as well. So
there's a 1-turn window, and that's immediately.
Yeah, now shot pretty thick and fast by Julius, as you can imagine. And here we see the Crispin attaching the Psychic Energy and the Lightning Energy. Of course, Crispin, you attach 1 from deck, 1 goes into your hand, but from more often than not, it's like it is a acceleration of 2 energy. Yeah. It's very rare, unless it's, of course, the Monkey Dory shenanigans.
Sensitivity back up.
And
if you shuffle any energy back, it allows Julius to find them again and just retreat, so maybe still go Curlier Gardevoird here. And just say the energy that's scattered on the board, they're stuck there.
They're stuck there now, yeah.
Maybe you're relying on those final 2 prize cards being awkward.
Yeah.
The issue is, you're a game down, and that's a long-term strategy to win a game 2.
It's a long-term strategy.
We're down to the final seconds of this game number 2.
And this Clefairy is just so threatening, though. I think Marcus might go for it, you know.
I'm concerned about everything.
I'm concerned, just in general.
We're going to get confirmation of time as well as this Angelite is being announced.
Gardevoird and Screamtail, I think, was opted for there by Marcus.
Both players. I believe Marcus can know. Well, we're going to see. Yeah, trying to argue that he can't lose in this position.
I'm going to win.
We're still with the Angelite. We're still seeing. It's not even that easy.
Yeah, I'm going to win. You may as well. Yeah.
There were a chunk of energy going back into the deck as well, so Marcus is hoping to dodge attachments from Julius here. Not saying that he's out of resources. Well, we do see the fist bump now, so there's confirmation. Julius winning 1-0 here in our round number 5. It continues on an undefeated record.
I think the reason for the scoop there from Marcus is that I can't take 5 prizes in this game, right? I've only got 2 additional turns after turn time, so you know it's going to be impossible for me. I may as well just scoop it up here, give you the win here, because it's just going to be a draw. If anything, Julius still had actually win that game. And Julius, as you can imagine, going on a strong record now, 5-0 into this tournament, into the later stages. Spoke about with Mike about how stories really start to solidify themselves, and here we see the replay and how that game unfolded. Marcus didn't really do much apart from that, right?
He does a lot, that's for sure. This was game number 1, Julius weaving in the confusion, which I did think was a big choice here. Even that 60 damage prep was massive as we got later into the game, where this Lilith Fairy EX really came into its elements, where the Full Moon Rondo was able to finish off a damaged Sylveon, and then once again put even more pressure on Marcus' second Sylveon. So don't worry about Julius' bench. He was working on that. He had, like, kept throwing those back into the deck. As long as I have an aggressive attacker, I'm still in the driver's seat.
I think Marcus maybe thought about this game too much. Maybe his approach to the game was probably a bit too much of a mind game with the Angelite. How can I use this effectively? Maybe focusing on it a little bit too much, forgetting about the advantage of the Flareon EX with that burning charge ability, burning charge attack, and that Canadian as well. Just forgetting that it even existed. It looks like, you know, not even getting it down at any point.
That's the issue with Angelite. You can't do it every single turn of the game. As we come to these final stages, you're just going down to a couple prize cards and having 4 threats on the board at once. Gardevoird's threatening. Curlier can evolve into Gardevoird very easily. Then having the Clefairy and the Screamtail at that time, and the eventual fist bump there as we came into those final seconds of the game. But like you said, Ben, I think because you can't Angelite every turn, you need to weave in that Flareon as well. You need to be able to pressurize, take out the Budgies, get that initial prize race going. Unlike a Dragon Ball matchup where you can get immediately stamped, you can get over to 5. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're powering up Sylveon as you go, and then if you can weave in attacks with the Flareon to take out key threats, then you're going to have a better time of things. You have to attack them every single turn. You can't slowly build behind Angelite. Gardevoird sets up too much.
You need more options. You need more options. You need more approaches, and you need to be a little bit more flexible. You just cannot rely on that sole attack alone to beat this archetype. I think I would love to have asked Marcus, what was your game plan for the later stages? If the Angelite did stick, what was your game plan?
Yeah.
Is it just relying on the magical charm for the Sylveon?
That's the issue, yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a risk doing that. You need other options. You need to start getting that Flareon EX up and running. You know, unfortunately, we didn't even see it that game. We didn't even see the Tropical Sea there apart from that one bench. So, you know, Julius took full advantage of it. You know, there's so many different options with Gardevoird. So consistent, so many draw supporters as well. The odds of you top decking one like we did with Julius' game, you know, we laugh, but it is, you know, the odds are I am going to find a draw supporter. You know, we've always been in those games. Oh, you just added, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, 2x4. Come on. Give me a break.
I'm going to
hit it, obviously.
But Julius, I mean, he had to navigate some awkward situations there as well. Did have to play carefully around the Angelite the entire game. I'm actually just thinking back to Milwaukee when Ian was in his interview when he was in Top Gun. He literally said, well, if I dodge Gardevoird, I'm good. And I think we're starting to see that from the Flareon, that we're kind of mulling over what we could have done differently. Marcus was doing kind of the right things at times. I feel like Angelite has to be a weapon in your arsenal, but you have to do more than that. There was early bravery chance on Budgies which denied fan rotom for early aggressive prizes, which was a big deal from Julius. And not wheeling that Flareon, I still feel like that still has to be the go-to option. Just like you're not forced into Crispin. Let you get Ino in the mix, let you Tera, let you use Boss's Orders, even wheeling in the Kieran, which is a big card for the deck. You have to find a spot to use them, and Flareon's the card that unlocks those energy.
I feel like Julius' deck was tailor-made for this type, not even just this type of disruption. Angelite isn't something that you come along very often, but even the faster archetypes, we've already said before, you know, 3 rare candy, even if he had a board state of 3 Rolts, Marcus would have thought, oh, it's alright, I can stay behind this because he's going to be manually evolving this, right? Because that's what I'm used to seeing. But with 3 rare candy, even Julius had that in his back pocket as well. You know, I feel like Gardevoird had a massive advantage by looking at that matchup. You know, we spoke about it before about how Angelite could have been used to full effect and how it could have made things awkward, but I think Julius just looks so comfortable.
And on a personal note, you've got to be chuffed with that one because Gardevoird's one of your predictions, isn't it? With Monkey Dory, you saw them both. Poetry in motion, as possibly Shane would say. Once or twice on the weekend.
Goodness gracious.
And when it's Julius as the pilot, you have to think that he's going to go far in this tournament. We've seen him do it once, and I think he can do it again.
Yeah, well, we've got to ask if Julius is dad, or if he rode a bike, or what his dice bag looks like. Let's start the winners into you right now.
Yeah, thank you for that, Carsters. As you were, Joe and Robbie, it was Poetry in Motion. I'm joined with our round 5 winner, 5 wins, 0 losses today. Julius, first of all, Julius, how are you feeling right now?
It's pretty cool actually, and I'm not a great Gardevoird player at all. Like I just like last evening built up very quickly. I play like middle okay, sure, but like I thought I play racing ball like evening. All my rooms like Ari Karila, Michael Hunter, and many of my friends. Julius Kerkisfanto, me to play Gardevoird, and I was okay, fine. I built up quickly, and I'm not sure how to play well with the Gardevoird, but the deck is so broken that it doesn't matter. Like Magidori is the best card in the game, so
there you go. You heard it here first, folks. Magidori, the best card in the game. Can't argue with you. So you say this is your first time playing Gardevoird. I'm guessing, have you ever had a chance to test against Flareon at all?
yeah, like I played that in middle okay in USA America regional championships with Gardevoird, and it was really fun. Almost top 64, but it's okay. And it is my second time to play Gardevoird. And also, wait, I don't remember now what to say.
Have you tested much against Flareon?
No, I have no idea how to play against Sylvia Flareon. I recognize in the game, like, I West Ultra Ball, I don't do it then. I was like, I'm gonna call in if something happened, that I can Ultra Ball the rounds back, but like, why I don't play as Ultra Ball West, I don't know. There is a couple of scenarios where I shall play many ways better, but it was very good experience for the next rounds if I face Flareon again.
Yeah, there you go. Hopefully, well, you seem to navigate your way out of that one rather well. Now, Julius, you know, you're a very good player. How has your season gone so far for you?
Very well, I guess. yeah, like, in the Hawaii season, like, I tried to not to play Pokemon at all, and I tried to take a break, but I didn't have to play in Hawaii season. I forced myself to play the Pokemon because I really enjoyed the game, but then I didn't do well in the Hawaii season, but I didn't test that much, so I could play only myself. But now this season was like, I was so firing if trying hard and working hard to get more placements because I really want a gold medal in one day. So when I'm working hard, it's really paid off, but I don't have a gold medal now, but I'm really proud and I don't regret nothing. All of this playtesting what I have done in this whole season.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Julius, you're after that gold medal. You're doing rather well this weekend. I have a couple more questions for you, a bit more fun ones. The first one, everyone that doesn't know you personally, Julius, you're a very happy person. How do you always be so happy at events all the time?
You need a lot of coffee.
There you go. There's the magic tip. You want to be happy and we're going to Pokemon, drink a lot of coffee. Now, one more question for you, Julius. Now, this might sound a little bit odd, but Joe, our caster, has to find 5 people that travelled here today via bicycle. So my question to you is, did you bike here today?
In Netherlands?
Yes.
I feel bad I don't, but maybe I try tomorrow, maybe. When I need to go tomorrow, even in the airport.
Yeah.
Maybe I check out somewhere to play and go in there.
Okay.
In Amsterdam.
There you go, Joe. We might have a cyclist for you here tomorrow. But Julius, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go. Good luck in the rest of your rounds. And Joe, Rabbi, back over to you.
Thanks, Jay. I think you should do a victory lap, perhaps, on the bike. I feel like he's earned that, at least.
On a sort of bicycle
Maybe some sort of two-wheeled object of some description. But yeah, no surprise that Ulysses is all smiles. Doing great with Gardevoird EX. I mean, new coming into this tournament, Gardevoird was one of the top considerations. We've already seen some results from Melbourne as well. You're saying a lot of Gardevoird